Hey guys, happy Friday. I hope that you guys are excited for the weekend. I am. And I'm extra excited because this is like the room that I'm in. It is my like she shed ladies den. This is like the place that I like to enjoy myself in. Like I don't like sitting in my living room as much. This is my area. Like this is like my favorite room in my house. No, this is not Monday, so I'm not doing Monday morning chats with Seth. But it was something on my heart that I wanted to share. It was the Bible study that I had last night. And so I facilitate my Bible study, my small group, and we meet, well, virtually meet twice a month. And the theme for my Bible study is called Falling into Place. I talked about falling in love with yourself again. I talked about your feelings matter, mental health matters, and I talked about that. Talked about a few things. And yesterday we talked about the title was Normalizing Healthy Conversations, How to Handle Conflict. And I think it's something that I think anybody can take heed to. And I think that it's something that's needed, because it's easy to pop off when someone pisses you off, right? When someone like had that button inside of you that just flip up, it's easy for you to just react. And I thought about, well, how do we become better? And for me, I'm really big on how do I become like mentally healthy? How am I able to have a conversation with someone, even though I disagree, or even though they piss me off? How do I handle that? And so the affirmation that I had is to practice the process of conflict resolution. We must completely abandon the goal of getting people to do what we want. And so this idea that just because you're hurt and just because you're demanding something, you can't assume that someone's going to actually do what you actually demand. So I wanted to do a small video to hopefully give you encouragement on, from my own perspective, because I am not an expert, how I think, based on my experience handling conflict. I think one is just understanding what a conflict is. I think for me, it's when two people or more disagree on a particular topic, place, or thing, or whatever. And sometimes that can lead to a misunderstanding between people. You can have a conflict between a misunderstanding, like you really just don't know. And how does the conflict make you feel? I think it depends on what the conflict is. For me, this is how I analyze how a conflict make me feel. So there's a chart that I use where it tells me how to control my emotions. I guess this is like the therapy. I look at this chart and say, okay, well, what was the actual issue that happened? Can I actually pinpoint my feeling? When this person did this, how did it actually make me feel? Did I feel angry? Did I feel abandoned? Did I feel hurt? Like, what was it? Can I actually pinpoint to it to see exactly what this feeling is? And then, depending on the actual issue, some conflicts hurt more than others. And so you have to look at how the conflict actually made you feel. Can you actually pinpoint to the actual conflict in itself? And once you pinpoint your actual emotion, how are you able to express that to that person? Because sometimes when people do something to you or there's a disagreement, they may not know how much it affected you. You can't assume that people are mind readers. You can't assume that people just know, hey, this hurts. So you have to really make sure you are able to have a conversation. And one of the scriptures that I use is Proverbs 16, verse 32. It says, he who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes the city. And pretty much for me, what that means is that whenever you have a conflict with somebody, sometimes it's initially you want to react just like that. But sometimes you have to be slow to anger. Like sometimes you may have to count to 10 before you actually respond. And you always have to keep in the back of your mind that people may not remember what you said, but they can remember how you made them feel. And so you have to keep in mind that you have to be cautious of the words that come out of your mouth, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I know for me, if someone pisses me off, I count to 10, I go jog, I do something to keep me busy. And I make sure that there's no anger in my heart when I'm having a conversation with them. Because I never want to have a conversation when I'm angry or I'm upset. I have to control my emotions first and then engage in a conversation. Because I feel like if I'm angry, upset, they're just going to only hear words. They're just not going to understand what I'm saying. So for me, how does conflict make you feel? I think you just need to take in consideration your actual emotion, check that emotion, and then when all of the anger, when all of this is somewhat clear, have a conversation. Now, sometimes it may take you a day or 2 days, and sometimes you may be ready to have that conversation that day. Yes, you can't control how you make other people feel. You can control your tone. Some people may not receive what you're saying, but sometimes you have to let it out, because what you don't want is to have this outburst where you just have all these things build up, and it could be from other people that cause you conflict, and that one person you just explode. So you don't want that. And I'm only telling you this from my experience. At one point, I did not know how to handle conflict. I just, instead of me having a conversation, I either wanted to fight the person, have a yelling match, and I was like, is it really worth it? And it's not. So for me, how I handle conflict, I see how big the problem is. If it's small, I don't sweat the small stuff. But if it's big and I feel like this person intentionally meant to hurt me, then I have to process that. I have to check my emotions. Once those emotions are checked, then I'm going to check the person. And then the last part is, how does God want us to handle conflict? There's a lot of scriptures to this, but I'll say this one. In Matthew's chapter 18, verse 15 through 17, I can just give you a synopsis. And pretty much what it says is that when someone sins against you, you go tell them to yourself their own faults. Like, you have a conversation with them one-on-one. You don't go out and tell your friends. Because I know sometimes for me, or just in general, someone pissed you off, you want to tell the whole world because you want everybody else to be mad just like you. But the Bible just says, like, hey, listen, I know you mad, but go to that person first. Okay? Go to that person first. If he listens to you, you gained your brother back. In other words, if he listens to you, maybe you guys can forgive each other. And forgiveness does not equate to pain. So you can forgive somebody, but you can still feel hurt. And you have to deal with your pain on your own terms. But also in this chapter also says that, hey, if he does not listen to you, you bring 2 or 3 more people. So that way you have proof that you're trying to have this conversation. And if that doesn't work, the scripture says, well, this is steps that you need to take. So if you want to learn how to deal with conflict, definitely read Matthew chapter 18. You could do 15 through 20. Those actual verses. But I say all that to say is that, I believe in normalizing healthy conversations. I never forget, I had a disagreement with somebody a while ago. And one of my friends was like, you should have got smart with that person. You should have just yelled back at that person. You should have just did all these things. And, I say this all the time. How I react to things now is totally different than how I would react in my early 20s. And it's like, when you know better, you do better. And once you grow up, I put away childish things. So me having a yelling match with somebody, that's just not, it's not me anymore. Even when I'm, litigating, I'm not arguing with opposing counsel. I'm not arguing with the IRS. Well, yelling at the IRS. I'll get my point across. But there's certain things I just won't do. If you think you won the battle, you won. I just walk away with peace. So I pray that you guys practice having healthy conversations. Your feelings matter. If someone upsets you, your feelings are validated. Like, you are entitled to feel exactly how you feel. Like, there's no way around that. If somebody hurt you, they hurt you. Someone else can never say, hey, that wasn't supposed to hurt you. No, if something hurts you, it actually hurts. And I pray that you practice this, because you're going to have people throughout your life that's going to upset you. There's some people that irk my last nerves. It's family members. It's some friends. It's some colleagues. But I have to take this whole personal cap off and just take my feelings out of it and just say, how do I handle this? And sometimes I can't handle it by myself. You know, when there's some things that really hurt me, I have to go in deep prayer. I'm like, God, you know my mouth and you also know my hands, and you know I want to pop off, but I know that's not what you want. So please give me some type of instruction ASAP. Like if someone, like if I'm on the phone, if I'm out somewhere, someone like says something that very disturbing to me, I'll just say, hey, let me just call you back. And I'll tell them like, hey, I'm about to hang up the phone. And after that, I'll pull to the side. I'll pray like, God, please help me. Help me, please. And I pray whether you believe in God or whoever you believe in, I pray that you have some type of foundation that you can go to when you're seeking instruction. You know, the Bible for me is instruction. And I have some close friends, not a lot, that I can confide in that are also believers. Like, hey, how do I handle this? You know, do you think I'm handling this the right way? And these are people that give me their candid opinion because I need it. And I just pray that, you know, you make healthy, whatever it is, healthy conversations, healthy relationships, healthy meals. I hope that you make healthy something normal in your life. I pray that even during a pandemic, you still find rainbows, even though we're going through somewhat a storm. I pray that if you're having conflicts within yourself, I just pray that you look deep down and say, what is causing these things? Maybe there's some things you need to hold yourself accountable to. Like sometimes for me, I'll be in deep thought and I'll say, why do I do these things? Like, why is it that when I'm sleeping in the middle of the night, I'm thinking about, God, where is my birth certificate at? Or, Dad, you know, why did we move around growing up? Like, I start thinking about these things and I think about how I am the way I am. You know, is it from genetics? Are these, you know, behaviors that I picked up growing up? What makes me the person that I am today? What is my genetic makeup? How did I contribute to this? Am I a product of my environment? Honestly, I'm not. But why did God choose me to be where I'm at? I could have easily did all these things, but why did God choose me? And I'm grateful that he chose me, because I could have been something else but God. I pray that you practice on how to be a better person, because Lord knows no one is perfect at all. I am far from perfect. And I pray that you love on yourself even with your imperfections. I pray that you never forget how amazing you are. You know, a lot of times people look at things within themselves and they never look at their beauty. Like, it's easy to look at your flaws and point about all the things that are wrong, but did you know that you're amazing? Did you know that you're great? Did you know that you're beautiful in the inside and outside? Did you know that God still loves you in spite of anything that you're going through? So I pray all those things for you, and I pray that this message, I pray that it blesses you and your family if you decide to let them see it. But that's all I have for conflict, and I pray that you continuously work on normalizing healthy conversations. I know I will. I need to practice that all the time, because some conflict is different than the other. Some conflict hurts you more than the other. So that's my prayer to you guys. Again, thank you so much for joining. You can see this video on my YouTube page. It's Sakina Tillman Esquire. I have a YouTube page with all of my videos that I post. And my goal for posting videos is hopefully that I can get a platform where I'm able to speak life into people. So take care, guys. Have a great Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye.